So what's up, guys? I'm John Vaughn, and today I actually wanted just to spend a little bit of time with you and do an entire overview of Magic Zap, what it is, why it's useful to you, essentially how it can make you money, and all the aspects that you need to actually set it up. And then at the very end, if you want to stick around, we'll show a couple custom automations of how you can practically use it outside of just the setup. So I'll show you a couple ways how I actually practically use this in part of my sales process and part of my prospecting process. All right. So the first thing I want to tell you about Magic Zap is I don't have a proper landing page built for it, and I'm going to be building it after we make these. But essentially, if you look at what we have right now, it says, make your website a sales tool again, personalize, track, and engage your website visitors with a simple software. So Magic Zap essentially is going to allow you to do three distinct things, okay? It is going to allow you to essentially create dynamic content on your website. So what that means is you will be able to actually make personalized content on your website. And I'm going to show you how that works, but you guys see it every day in emails or chatbot messages where you have an email that says, hey, John, I noticed you subscribe to this mailing list or whatever, and they mention you by name, and they also maybe mention some of the information that you gave them in some forms that you've submitted that they've collected about you, or some information that they know about you. All right, so it's going to allow us to do that to our websites. It's going to allow us to greet users by name, to reference pieces of data that we already have collected about them. It's also going to allow us to pre-populate forms that we have on websites already. So if we have a form on a website and we're asking for a user for data that we already have from that particular user, it's going to allow us just to go ahead and pre-populate that so our user doesn't have to give us that data. Right? And then it's also going to allow us to track website activity. And what that means is we can actually get a notification, or we can fire off an automation process when a known piece of traffic is currently on one of our websites, and we can track all the different pages that he actually visits, okay, or her. So that's essentially what Magic Zap does. So hopefully you understand that. And we'll just go ahead and move on with setting everything up. So whenever we set everything up, it's all going to happen whenever we set up a new Zap. So I'm going to go in and actually create a new Zap, and I'm just going to call this Zap Magic Zap Demo 3. All right. So now that I have Magic Zap Demo 3 set up, I'm going to do the first thing that we talked about, and I am going to add some elements that I can personalize for my user. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to add in is fname. All right. And the next thing I'm going to add in is lname. And these are going to be the only attributes that I have set up. All right. So in order to use these, what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to have corresponding elements in my web page. So first I need a web page. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to use ClickFunnels because it's really, really easy. And I'm just going to grab a simple little web page here. All right. So here's my simple little web page that I'm going to just create with ClickFunnels. And the first thing that I'm going to want to do is grab this guy. Now I'm just going to use a simple online HTML editor. All right. And here on this online HTML editor, I can do pretty much anything that I want. All right. You see that he's created me a little bit of HTML over here. So I can bold them up, and he's going to create that same little HTML over here. So I'm just going to use that. Now you can get as fancy as you want with your HTML, but it doesn't require any knowledge outside of basic HTML. All right. So I do have some basic HTML over here that I'm going to end up putting right in my little website over here. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this thing right here because I don't need him, and I'm going to delete this thing right here because I don't need him, and I'm going to add in a little. Custom code right here, and I'm going to put this little code right on top of here. And in this custom code, it's going to be really easy. I'm going to first put in a span tag, and I'm going to give it an ID equals fname. All right, and I'm actually going to leave him blank. You lost my audio? Is that what you're saying? You don't have my audio anymore? Can everybody
Yeah,
else hear me?
yeah, the other can hear you.
Cool. So hopefully you can see what I've just done right here. All I've done is added a little bit of code that says it says, hey, want to see how Magic Zap can help you increase sales for your company. And hopefully that you can see that I've put this hey, I've just wrapped this hey inside a little HTML box, and I've given it an ID of fname. And then I've also taken your company here, and I've put it inside a little HTML box. These things are called span tags, and I've put in your company here. All right. Now I'm going to take this entire thing right here, and I'm going to put it in an H1 tag to make it a heading. All right. And now that guy's completely done. And I'm going to preview this guy out. And you can see how this guy looks right here. All right. So that's pretty simple, right? Any questions there? That's not so hard. You can Google HTML code. It's really, really simple, everything that we've done so far. So nothing complex about what we've done so far. And we can make this look as pretty as you want. You can get into an HTML editor. Like I said, you can go in to get into an HTML editor like this, and you can go in and make this as pretty as you want and get the HTML for it, and then just pop that really pretty HTML right inside here. All right. So now we're gonna save that guy up, and he's all saved. All right. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in here, and I'm gonna replace that with company. And I just want you to note that right here I have a little span, which is just a little box. All right. And I'm giving it an ID of fname. And over here in Magic Zap, I'm saying, hey, I'm going to add some HTML elements to the web page that I want to create dynamic content on. And on that website, I'm going to have a little box, and that box is going to be identified by an attribute called ID, and the value of that ID is going to be fname. And I've just put that guy in right here. So I've just created that little box. All right, that's easy to do. I've just said box, close box, and I've said ID equals some value. All right, so you see, that's really simple. In HTML, you have specific tags, so you can't just use a box tag because a box tag doesn't exist. But what does exist is an H1 tag or an H2 tag or an H3 tag, and you can just Google this. It's really, really basic HTML. If you look me up on Upwork, you can find me teaching a video in Spanish to essentially, I don't know, 9-year-old kids on how to do basic HTML. So I don't want you to think it's so hard. Like I said, if you just come check me out on Upwork here, you can see this video right here, and this video, see all these school kids. I'm teaching, I mean, look at this kid. It's like 9 years old, 10 years old, 11 years old kid. And I'm teaching them how to do this exact same thing, which is HTML programming. Very, very simple, so I don't want you to get scared of that. You can just Google it. It's really, really easy. You see how easy it was for me. I just created this little span tag. I gave it an ID of fname, and I created this other little box, another little span tag, and I gave it an ID of company. And these things are just correlating to these little elements over here. If I change this one to name, then I'd want to come over here and I'd want to change this ID to a name. Now it will work, okay? I'm just going to use ID because I like to use ID. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and change this back to ID, and I'm going to submit this right here. Now, I've done everything I need. Here I'm going to get a little script, so I'm going to copy this script. I'm going to come back over in ClickFunnels. If you're using ClickFunnels, you're going to do it just like this. If you use another landing page builder, it's going to be a little bit different process than this, but pretty much all landing page builders are exactly the same. So they're going to give you some way where you can go in and you can add these scripts. For ClickFunnels, you're just going to come in here to this tracking code, and you're going to go right to the footer because this needs to be put right inside your footer. So we're going to put that in our footer. And then we're just going to save that. So now that's been saved. All right. So now once we save that, what I like to do is I just like to save it one more time, and then maybe one more time just to make sure that ClickFunnels has actually saved it. Now whenever I preview this, what I want to do is I just want to view in here. And I want to make sure that that script's here. And I see that that script is now nicely at the bottom, right where it should be, right before my body tag. That's where I want that script. I want it right before my body tag. All right? So I can see there's my script. So everything should work fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back out of here. And I'm just going to open this guy up right over here. Now you can see he says, hey, want to see how Magic Zap can help you increase sales for your company. All right. So what I can actually do is I can give this data now to my website. I can say fname equals John and put an and there, and company equals tier 5. And I can load that up and I can see that nothing special has happened. So you can see nothing has changed. It's exactly the same. So that is because I do not have this append HTML option turned on. If I want to create dynamic content on my web pages, I need to turn that option
That fell? How did it fall?
Okay, so if I want to create dynamic content here on my web page, I just need to make sure that this option is on. So now I can come back right over here. I can just reload this page. And now you can see that it has changed my content, and it says, John, want to see how Magic Zap can help you increase sales for tier 5? Oh yeah, actually I think I do. I'll just give you my email because yeah, I want to get more sales for tier 5. And obviously I'm John, so you're talking to me. So yeah, I do want to see this. So you see what's just happened here? Now I've actually created a complete dynamic content here, just like you would in an email. And I'm showing relevant data to my user. When my user comes to my web page, I'm showing relevant data. All right. Now, how would that work? All right. Let me just come in here to my chatbot. All right. And I'm going to show you how easy this is inside a chatbot. All right. Let me come in here to my tier 5 chatbot, and let me just come over here to a helper and make a little helper called Magic Zap. And I'm just going to go in and say, delete that. Let's change this demo 3. And I'm just going to ask this guy real quick, what is your company? Just because I need that, because I'm gonna give him some information. All right, I'm gonna ask him to check this out real quick, and what I'm gonna ask him to check out is gonna be this landing page right here. So I'm gonna give him this landing page, and the only difference is where it says fname here. I'm gonna put in his first name that I have stored, and where it says tier 5, I'm gonna put in his company that I just grabbed from him. And now I'm gonna grab this link right here, and I'm gonna grab him, put him in a button that says learn more, and then put a little URL and paste that little URL in right there. All right. Now, if you're using an email autoresponder or some type of SMS platform, you're going to do something really, really similar. They're going to give you these little, they're going to give you what they're called in the industry. They're called merge fields. They're going to give you these little merge fields, and you're just going to use those merge fields in your system to build your little URL, just like we built. I just built that URL. These things are my merge fields. You're just going to build it just like that. All right, so now this is actually done here, and I just need to go in and set up a little AI real quick to go in and say magic, but I'm just going to call it demo 3. And then I'm going to reply with Magic Zap demo 3. And then I'm just going to come over here, see if I can find my tier 5 bot, and I'm going to say demo 3. And he's going to ask me what my company is. I'm going to call my company Amazing Company XYZ. All right. And he's going to say, great, check this out. Let's learn more. So now I'm just going to learn more. And you can see right here, want to see how Magic Zap can help you increase sales for Amazing Company XYZ. Now, this plus should not actually be there. The reason that this plus is showing up is because of how my chatbot platform actually decodes this information here. All right, so I could change that by sending that out to a function first. So I could write a little function and URL and code that. But what I'm actually going to do is just, I think, modify a little piece of code in Magic Zap to check that out. All right, but you can see now how I've actually just served him up this landing page with complete custom content here. All right, so that's one of the things Magic Zap does. It lets you actually create that custom dynamic content where you're actually referencing something that is relevant to your user, which is going to help you increase conversions. It's going to help you increase sales because the content that you're serving up is something that you know is going to resonate with your piece of traffic because it is something that is directly referencing them. So it is more personalized, and they're just going to feel like you're giving them more personalized content. All right, so that is one of the first things that Magic Zap does. Now, one of the next things that Magic Zap does is it can go in, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple more of these little guys right here. All right, and this is going to be our guy's name. All right, this is going to be his name. This is actually going to be his email address. And this is going to be his phone number. All right. So this is going to be his phone number. So now we're going to save this. Okay. So now we've got this data saved right here. Now if we've got this data saved, what we need to do is we need to preview this out. Because if we want to pre-populate this form data, we're essentially going to do the same thing. All right, so if we want to pre-populate this form data, what we're going to do in Magic Zap is we're going to use these same HTML attributes to go in and pre-populate our form data. All right, so in order to use the same HTML attributes, I need to first find these HTML attributes. So I'm just going to go to any of my attributes, and I'm going to click inspect. Whenever I inspect, it's going to highlight in blue what this thing is over here. And somewhere, I am going to see a name or an ID. Here I see a name. Its name is first name. All right? So since I've got a name, and it's this first name, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two things. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to edit my little code so that this first name says first name is an ID, and it actually matches the same, it has the same ID that this form has. And then I'm just going to edit this to say first name. All right. Then I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to look at this guy, and I'm going to see that he has a name called email. Cool. So I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to add another thing with a name called email. And I'm going to update that. And I think there's one thing that I need to do, and I need to come right here, and I need to update this from being an ID to a name. That way, now what this is going to allow me to do is just only have to pass one piece of data that will fit both inside here and inside here because they both have the same name. So since this has a name, I'm going to put a John there. And since this has a name, they're both first name, they're both going to get the value of John stuck right inside there, or the value of whatever first name that I send over here when I send traffic. All right, so now I'm just going to look at this again. I can see that everything's actually updated. All right, so now I can go in and actually save this. And remember, since it's ClickFunnels, I like to save it just a couple times. All right, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this. I'm going to come open up a new incognito window. I'm going to change this to company equals tier 5. I'm going to change this to first name. And I'm also going to throw in this dude's email that I have. The data that I don't have about this user is his phone number. That is the data that I want to collect from this user. I want to collect his phone number, okay? So now you can see that I have created a complete customized page for him that says, John, want to see how Magic Zap can help you increase sales for tier 5? I've put his name in, I've put his email in. The only thing that's left for him to give me is his phone number. Do you see how he may be a little bit more eager to give me this information as opposed if he gets here like this? If he gets here like this, what's his psychology? His psychology is, man, I gotta do 3 things. I gotta actually do 4 things. I gotta put in some data here, put in some data here, put in some data here, gotta mash this button, all right? What are these dudes gonna do with my data? I don't know what they're gonna do with my data. Do I really wanna give them my data or not? As opposed to whenever he comes to this page, everything's pre-populated for him. He sees I only have to do 1 thing. I just have to give him my email, or I just have to give them my phone number. What are they gonna do with my data? Probably nothing bad. They already have my data. Have they done anything bad with it? I don't think so. They're probably just not gonna do anything bad. They just wanna call me or something. So you can see how psychologically he's more willing, because there's less barriers for him to do, to actually fill out this form, because you've pre-populated it with all the information that you've already collected from him. All right? So those things, hopefully you follow, and those are really clear. Now I'm gonna show you why this is called Magic Zap, all right? That's what I'm gonna show you, why this is called Magic Zap. Because what I can also do is I can come in here, I can come to Zapier, I can create a Zapier token, all right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come right in here to Zapier. Or you can just come right in here and you can just copy that link and go there, but I'm not gonna do that. If you copy that link and go there, all it's gonna do is take you to the Magic Zap integration. And I'm just gonna go in and create a Zap. But like I said, you could just go in and do this if you want. You could just copy this guy and literally just paste that guy inside there. And that's just gonna let you create this Magic Zap. All right, it's gonna do the same thing that I was gonna do. And I'm gonna copy my token again. And I'm gonna say, hey, I wanna, this Magic Zap is gonna be my trigger. So what that means is whenever I get a new piece of activity, whenever I get a new piece of traffic on the website, on my page that has this Magic Zap script on, I'm going to fire off whatever this automation is right here. All right? So the first thing I'm gonna do is come in and connect my account. So all I need to do is click the connect account button, put in my API key, and hit continue. Now that account is set up, and I'm just gonna go in, and since I have so many, I'm just gonna name what this account is. I can test it just to make sure that it works. And I know that it works, all right? So now I'm just gonna pick, what do I want here? Well, I'm gonna do this guy right here, all right? I'm gonna pick this, and he is my same Zap that was right here on my dashboard. All right, this Magic Zap Demo 3. Now, all I need to do is think for a second, what do I want to do here, all right? So what type of automation do I want to fire off? That type of automation that I want to fire off is going to have some dependent data, as you can understand. So in order to trigger that automation, I need to make sure I have that dependent data. That's what these parameters are for. To give you an example of that, let's say I'm gonna send a piece of traffic to this website right here. And whenever they come to this website, I want to send them out an email that is thanking them for visiting my website. Maybe I want to send them out a message in my chatbot thanking them for visiting my website. Maybe I want to call them on the phone and have a live conversation with them, or send them a pre-recorded phone call. In any of those scenarios, it requires that I have some type of communication mechanism with them, some type of piece of data. For the email, it requires that I have their email address. So we're just going to assume that what I want to do is I want to send them an email whenever they visit my website. Well, what does that mean? That means in order for me to send them their email, I need to know their email address. So I'm gonna make sure that that email address has been passed in with the data when I send them to my website, just like it has been somewhere on that little site that we had that I think I just deleted. No big deal. We'll grab another one real quick and we'll make another one. I'll show you. All right. So I need to make sure that I pass my email. So I'm just going to add that parameter, and I'm going to say, hey, this guy needs to exist because that's my condition. So now that guy's all set up. So now all I need to do is come right over here. I'm going to grab this. Remember, I'm just going to take this guy. I'm going to put my company name equal to tier 5. And I'm going to say that my email is john@thinkbond.com. All right, so remember what that does. So now I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to come to Zapier. and I'm going to say, hey, I want to continue. I want to fetch some data. So I'm going to send some data. And now I just got my data. And you can see I've got the guy's company. I've got the guy's email. I've got the URL that he was on. I've got the web page that he was on that triggered this automation. And I also have his name. All right. All that data that I sent all this data from I put all this data encapsulated in the URL and sent it with my piece of traffic. Very similar to what you would do with the UTM code if you're using UTM tracking from your advertising sources. So hopefully I've just assumed this whole time that you understand the whole concept of URL parameters and basic web traffic, okay? And I just want to go ahead and make that assumption that you understand those basic things. If you don't, at the end of this, you can ask any questions that you want, and we can go over those basic things if you don't understand those basic things. All right, so now I have actually got all this data from him, so now I can just continue on with my little automation process. What do I want to do? Well, I want to go ahead and send out an email. So I'm going to send an email from my Gmail account. I'm going to go in and send a new email. I'll pick some email address. I'm just going to pick this one. And I'm going to send an email to, I'm going to pick that from step 1. I'm going to send it from this email right here. From name, I'm just going to put in tier 5. And I'm just going to go in and say, hey, you're on my website right now, John. And I'm going to say, hey, whatever this guy's name is, John, I see you're on my web page. And I'm just going to put in that web page. Is there something I can help you with? All right. And I'm just going to hit continue. And I'm going to say Magic Zap Demo 3. I'm not even going to send that test. I'm going to skip that test. And I'm going to turn this on. And I'm going to go see this in my dashboard. All right, so now I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to simulate a piece of traffic coming to my website. In just a second, I'm going to show you how to build these links through some automation for this piece of traffic that came. So now that piece of traffic just came to my website. I'm going to run this automation that will run every 5 minutes. It's about to be instant. And you can see now it's triggering on one new zap there. All right, and now if I go check my email, I should have a nice little email in here. Should have a nice little email in there. Sometimes it takes a second, so that's not anything I can really control. What I can do is go in and actually look at my Gmail account and see if it was actually sent out of my Gmail account, because that could be a good thing. All right, it said that it actually bounced. So I see that this said it was bounced, so I just got to check to see why it said it bounced. Error occurred. Not really quite sure what the error is, so let's just go in and investigate this zap. That's totally correct. So let's just continue there. Now what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to come in and try this again. All right. So I'm going to send that same piece of traffic there. And then I'm also going to do this. All right. So I'm now going to go in and actually put in that information. Oh, I see what it is. I need to do that. All right. So I'm going to put in that information. And I'm going to come back over here to my zaps. And I'm going to run that zap. And for some reason, actually, all my Gmail messages are getting bounced out. For some reason, I actually think that's because of an integration that I set up earlier. Whenever I actually just connected that domain to my SendGrid account a little bit earlier. So I think if I wanted to fix that, what I'd want to do is come in here and maybe change this account that this is authenticated on, and maybe come into this account here and use a different account because I think something's going on with my Gmail account. And then I just need to go in and change this here to that. But this is just not any problem with Magic Zap. It's just a problem with my mail settings and how I have my own mail settings configured, and a change that I've just done in my mail configuration. Magic Zap doesn't really have anything to do with that. That's the rest of my Zapier integration. All Magic Zap does is actually catch the piece of traffic and then send the associated data about that piece of traffic out to Zapier. He just grabs that piece of traffic and sends them out to Zapier, and then Zapier gets to do whatever else he wants to with it. So let me just come in here and look real quick at this email and see if these are also bouncing. And this is also bouncing. And I really am very unclear on why this thing is actually bouncing here. But I'm definitely assuming that it is because of something that I've done earlier. With my SendGrid integration is what I'm thinking. Or something from this Zapier integration right here. But like I said, that Zapier integration really has nothing to do with Magic Zap. Magic Zap is just the actual first step that grabs this data right here. All right. So hopefully that all makes sense to you. And that's essentially how Magic Zap works. All right. So does that all make sense? Are there any questions there so far? Any questions?
John, I posted a question in the chat.
Okay. So you ask under what conditions do you want to click on this? And that's a really good question. So, Dennis, I know you understand all this about URL parameters and everything. So you understand that that a user can go to your website and they can click on a button or on a link that's going to take them to a new page on your website, correct? So if you want this data right here to get sent to that next page so that you can also fire off an automation on that next page, you need to turn on that magic option. What that magic option will do is as that user's on your web page and he's clicking on a link to go to your next page, it will pass that data to your next page, all right? What does that look like? Well, if you do this, we're gonna save that. We're gonna come back over here. I'm gonna come back over here and I'm gonna add this page right here. Let's add this thank you page.
John, does that mean that without that radio button clicked, it'll only show up on the page where the code is, but with the magic radio button turned on, it'll actually pass from page to page? Is that correct?
Correct. If you have the magic option off, the data is only going to be to that first URL that you sent it to. If you turn the magic option on, what Magic Zap will do, I'll show you, is it will go in and actually rewrite all the URLs on your own domain and add those query strings to those links on your web page, is what I'm going to show you right now. All right. We're going to grab this dude right here. We're just going to make sure that he's him. All right. And then we need to edit him a little bit. And what am I going to do? Attention. I'm going to delete this dude. I'm going to add a new little, didn't need to add that. I'm going to add a new little that. And I'm going to delete that. And add my little code here again. And in my little code, I'm just going to put in an H1 tag. And again, I'm going to put in a span tag. And I'm going to say his name is equal to first name. Hopefully what I just done is fine with everybody. I just did something really similar to what I did on the first step and created a little custom HTML and created a couple little boxes where I'm going to stick my data that I'm passing in from the URL. So I'm just going to save that guy. And then I'm just going to be like, hey, set this action and go to here. And I'm just going to come over here real quick and put in my random link. And I'm just going to put in some random link. And just put this guy, give him a hyperlink, link him up to that guy right there. And save that guy. All right, so now that guy's saved. Somewhere I had actually a little piece of data. Guess what I'm gonna do real quick? I'm gonna delete this guy. I'm gonna delete that, now there's my random link, you can see. All right, you can see the link that's written down there at the bottom left. You can see what happens whenever I click on that link. It just says attention, hey, blah, blah, blah. All right, you can see no data has been passed in the URL. So I'm just gonna come back over here. I'm gonna turn on this magic option because we like magic. Now that magic option is turned on, And I'm just gonna refresh this. Can I have some tea, buddy? And now I'm gonna look, and you can see that that data's been passed. As you can see, you see that data's been passed there. Hey, there's a sheet out there. Shotgun arrow sheets out there. I can see that this isn't actually working quite as expected because it's actually, there's something I haven't told you guys about, and there's a cookie. We actually added in a feature where we cookie this information now, so that once somebody comes to your link with this data in there, they're actually cookied with that data. So if they come back in the future and they don't click on that link before, they just navigate to your site again in the future, your automation can fire off again because we pass in the data that we cookied. So hopefully that makes sense to you and you like that feature, because what it allows you to do is put in cookie that data, and once a user goes there once, if he comes back again from the same browser, just by doing a search for you, or just because he remembers your website, or even because he saw an ad on Facebook and he comes back, that data will still now be dynamic. That web page will still now be dynamic because the first time he went there, he was cookied. So, but now you can see if I click on that random link, that you can see it doesn't work. And the reason that it doesn't work, if you want to know why it doesn't work, is because of this. It is because this code right here is only in the footer of this page. So I'm going to take this off of the footer of that page, and I'm going to come back over here to my page. I'm going to go to my settings, and I'm going to include this script in the global footer, so he's on every one of my pages. And now if he's on every one of my pages, he's going to work. So as long as he's on every one of my pages, he will work. So I just need to make sure that he's not on one single page. He's in my global footer. As long as he's on my global footer, then I need to create that page again, I'm assuming. There's that page. Now you can see that the data is actually passed through. Now it's working here as well. So hopefully you can see that, and you can see that the data is here. And since I have that magic option on, let me go in and turn that magic option off real quick so that I can demo this properly. All right, let me just reload this. And now you'll be able to see if I have this magic option off, here's my dynamic data on this page. He's going to go to that random link, no dynamic data. All right, so you can see no dynamic data has came in. So now I'm going to come right back here. I'm going to turn my magic option back on, and I'm going to reload this page so my script reloads. Hey, will you grab me a smoke from Chocolate, please? I'm going to click my same random link again, and you'll see now I have dynamic data on my random link. So does that answer your question, when and why you should use that magic app option and what it does, Dennis? I think yes, Dennis, that answers your question. Thanks. So I'm going to say that answers your question. So any other questions here so far, or does everybody get this and understand what this tool is, how it can actually help you, and how it does it? Have you guys put together how this can make you money now? Because that's what I told you I was going to show you today, how this can make you money. So have you guys been able to put together yet how this can make you money? Does anybody have questions like, John, how does this help me? How is this relevant? Great. So everybody sees exactly how it's relevant and how it makes you money. Exactly, because it allows you to go in and essentially create customized content on your landing page. It allows you to go in and completely customize your landing pages. It allows you to actually pre-populate the form data that's coming in on your landing pages. It allows you to fire off automations and do follow-ups whenever people come to your actual landing page. So it allows you to do all that good stuff. It allows you to go in and do those 3 things that we just talked about. Create this custom content for your website users so that you can send 1 million different users to the exact same website, and as they get to that website is created with dynamic content that is relevant to them so that they're more apt to hear your message and continue the interaction because you have already spoken directly to them and capture their attention. It allows you to increase the actual UI and the usability of them. It allows you to increase the conversions, obviously, and collect and capture more data because they feel comfortable giving you data, because whenever you want 1 piece of data, you ask them for 3 pieces of data, and you go ahead and pre-populate the 2 that you have to reestablish the fact that they've already trusted you and they've already given you this information and you already have this other information, so that they're more apt to give you that last little piece of information that you're trying to collect. And lastly, it allows you to create custom automations and custom workflows that you can trigger when those specific pieces of traffic come to your website, like trigger a phone call. All right, how could that work? Let's go in and let me just edit this real quick. All right, let me edit this step right here to go in and say, hey, this dude is not this. I'm going to use another tier 5 software, text in bulk. And what am I going to do? I'm going to make an outbound IVR call. And who am I going to make it to? Here's, let's see, here's one of my text in bulk accounts, which I should have an outbound IVR stored in. So I'm going to choose one of my text in bulk phone numbers. I'm going to choose an outbound IVR. It's going to be called scheduled call. And what phone number am I going to do? All right, first thing I need to do, I need to come back to Magic Zap real quick. I'm going to edit this guy. I'm going to say, look, I want to fire my automation, not when I see an email, but whenever I see a phone number. That's when I want to actually fire my automation. I want to fire my automation whenever I see a phone number. All right, I'm going to come back up here to my thing real quick. I'm going to continue over here because I actually want to retest this step, because I want to come in here and I want to add a phone number and say, hey, this guy's phone number is this. So I'm going to retest this guy, and then I'm going to hit this guy, and hopefully I'm going to get a nice little new piece of data here. Oh crap, I'm going to try that again. So now I'm going to hit that. And now look, there's my phone number right there. Now I've got that new piece of data. Now I've got my phone number. Now I can continue on with my automation. And what am I doing here? Literally, I'm going to call this person whenever he reaches my website. All right? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call my own Skype number. So now I've got this dude's phone number because he's given me my phone number. Now whenever I send him to my website, to my sales page, for him to enroll in my coaching program or whatever I'm sending him to, whenever he reaches my website, I can know, hey, that guy, John Vaughn's on my website right now looking at a $1,000 coaching program. Let me call him up, and while he's there, let me sell him and tell him why he wants to buy my $1,000 coaching program. So that's essentially what I'm going to do. So to finish this up, I'm going to turn this guy off. There's my phone call coming in from the test right there. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Look at my zaps. I'm going to see this guy right here. I'm going to simulate this piece of traffic right here. So bam, that dude just came to my website. Cool, why he's on my website? Guess what's going to happen? This zap's going to run right here. So now this dude's checking on my website. He's running on my website. Well, guess what? That zap just happened. It triggered an outbound process. He's still checking out my website. He's looking at my website like, yo, hey, this is cool. Yep, I'm really liking this. Yeah, I think I'll download this. This is pretty cool. What's this all about? Need a little bit more information here. Let me click to download this. Where is this going? Oh, cool. Hey, what's this? Oh, the Tier 5 community. Tier 5 community is pretty awesome. So this automation takes some time, but there you go. Here's my call right now coming in. Oh, this is John.
Hi, this is John from Tier 5, and we have a call scheduled for right now, so if you want to go ahead and get on that call, just press 1.
Yeah.
If you need to reschedule, press 2. If you're no longer interested in talking to us about software development services, go ahead and press 3, and we'll make sure that you're offered.
All right, so I'm going to press 3 because I'm not interested anymore. So you can see what just happened. That guy came to my website. He's a specific piece of traffic.
We are sorry.
I know about him.
Error has occurred.
And as he's on my website, I could literally fire off an automation to send him an email. In that case, I fire off an automation to send him a phone call. If I want to fire off an automation to send him a text message, I can. If I want to fire off an automation just to lead score him or deliver a lead to a Google spreadsheet or go in and do some type of lead scoring or add him to one of my drip sequences in my autoresponder, any of those automations, I can go in and fire off. So now essentially I've told you everything that you need to know about Magic Zap. So at this point, I'm just going to ask you guys if you have any questions. If you have any questions, we will go over those questions.
Yeah, I got a question for you, John. Maybe it's not within the scope of this currently, but let's assume I have 5 different phone numbers, different area codes registered inside Text in Bulk, okay? And maybe I can set one up to be sort of like the default number. But here's the question. So I have a visitor coming into my site. They put in their phone number. Is there a way so that Text in Bulk can say, oh, okay, you're calling from area code 123? Let me see if I have a 123 phone here so it'll look like a local call is coming into you. Because you've never gotten a call from me before. But like you said in the past, there's a higher likelihood of that prospect picking up the phone if it looks like it's a local number, even if they don't recognize the number, right? As opposed to getting some other state phone number.
Not yet, no. Would love to actually add that logic in, and it's something that we've think about, but no, it definitely does not exist yet. So there isn't an auto.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Okay, all right, cool. John, I had to step out for a second. Did you cover group links and how that creates automatic? If you did, I'll just look at the replay later.
I have not covered them. I was going to cover them after any questions that we had about Magic Zap, because I've essentially covered Magic Zap A to Z, everything that it does. So if I don't get any questions, I'm just going to assume that you guys now understand everything.
Actually, there was one more question. John. Is there a way in here to make a clone of a Zap? So if we want to do something similar to what we already have in the past, it becomes a starting point instead of having to redo the whole thing over again.
No, but we could add that in this week if that's something that you guys want. If you guys think that you need a cloning feature, we could add that in. That's pretty simple logic.
Yeah, okay. All right. Very cool, though, John. Very cool. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Are you guys understanding everything, or you guys have any questions? Any questions at all? Don't be scared to ask questions if you have questions. Great. So it looks like you guys don't have any questions at all, and you guys completely understand Magic Zap and essentially how it can make you money. And it does work. I've used it in my own conversions, and I'm going to show you part of how I've used it in my own conversions. I've got this site right here. As you can see, here's a site that I have right here. It's a nice, beautiful site, right? So now I have a Zap set up, a Magic Zap set up, where if I do something like this, you can see that it says, hey, Alexis, we're connected. We're connected on LinkedIn. I noticed you're the learning consultant at PetSmart, and I just wanted to get the chance to personally meet you, all right? So this is an automation that I use with my LinkedIn contacts. Lucky for you, I happen to have a list of LinkedIn contacts that's massively huge right here from a LinkedIn shared contact thing that we've done. All right? So here's a whole bunch of LinkedIn people. All right? So here's all my LinkedIn people. So I can go in and set up an automation right here if I want. I can go in here and make a flag. All right, so here's my flag that I'm going to use to fire a batch process. I'm going to come over here, and essentially what am I going to do? I'm going to change this Magic Zap demo because I don't need it anymore. So I'm going to change this from being Magic Zap to being Google Sheets. And I'm going to do this whenever I update a spreadsheet row in this LinkedIn shared contacts here. I'm going to grab this guy. I'm going to say, hey, whenever LinkedIn shared contacts, whenever a value on the sheet 1, specifically the send flag, is updated, I want to fire off my automation. Well, what automation am I going to fire, you ask? I saw all your questions come in real quick, so I want to go ahead and answer them. And the automation that I'm going to fire, I'm going to go in and actually create a short link, a nice short pretty link, so I can pixel these dudes right up and remarket to them later. And I'm going to create a short link that essentially encapsulates all their data so that they can just click a nice little short pretty link. And after they click that nice little short pretty link, I'm going to redirect them to that link is going to essentially go to a page where all their data is no longer encapsulated. And I can create this nice, beautiful landing page that is specific to them, where it says, hey, Alexis, we're connected on LinkedIn. I noticed you're the learning consultant at PetSmart, and I want to get the chance to personally connect with you. I hope you're loving it there. And I'm just going to give them an option where they can put in their phone number, because that's what I want. And then this is actually going to fire off another automation that's not related to Magic Zap. So I'm going to come back in over here. And next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use Link Wizard. All right. So here's my Link Wizard guy right here. And I'm going to essentially create a group link. So in order to create a group link, what I want to do is I want to come over here to my Link Wizard account. And again, if you don't have one of these accounts, you can grab one. They're relatively cheap. $7 a month is where you can start at them. They just go up to $47 a month. And this is a completely unlocked, unlimited account. And you will see that this is a very, very powerful software, unlike any other URL shortener you have seen. So we're going to go ahead and log in. I'm going to create a group link here, and it's going to be called LinkedIn Connections. All right. I'm going to come in here and put in LinkedIn contact. All right. If I want to add a pixel, I can add a pixel here. If I want to do all my other stuff, like create a custom link preview, add expiration dates, or geo route this and only allow specific people, like people in the US, I could go in and do that just by saying, hey, I want to deny everybody but these guys, and these guys are allowed to see my website. All right. But I don't want to do that because I'm not going to discriminate who can actually view my links. So this is all I'm going to do right here is I'm just going to add a pixel to them, and I'm not going to do anything else. So I'm going to add this group link. What that does is essentially creates a template for me to create these little individual links in my automation. So now I'm going to create this group link. I'm going to go in and I'm going to connect my Link Wizard account that I want to use. Make sure he's my right account. I'm going to select my group link. Doesn't look like I have my right account connected. So since I don't have my right account connected, what I'm going to do is come right back over here. I'm just going to create a new account. So I'm just going to connect my new account here. It's going to be really easy. Just pop in the API key, hit continue. And I'm just going to put in here that it's john@linkedin.com. And I'm going to save and continue. And now I'm going to Now I'm going to freak out. Oh, here we go. There he showed up right there. Never mind. Not going to freak out. Just kidding. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. Find that guy right here. Oh, and I'm going to put him back in my automation right there. And I'm just going to go in and actually change some of this information right here to be this dude.
Gotta stop spending money.
First name right there. I'm going to put in his position, learning consultant. And I'm going to put in his company. And I'm going to put in his email. Now you see how I just built that little link right up? Pretty simple, right? I built that little link right up. And I'm just going to hit continue. All right, I'm gonna send this test out to Link Wizard. And he's gonna give me a nice, pretty little link back. And whenever my user goes to that link, he's just gonna go to that link, he's gonna get pixeled real quick, and guess what? Boom, there's all his data. And I can see I did something wrong here, so what did I do wrong? Oh, his first name came in. And then it looks like Zapier has done something freaky with my, looks like Zapier has done something freaky here with this data right here. So I would actually do is probably come in here. See if there's a function to do this. This can ask Zapier if there's a function to do URL encoding. Extract URL, encoding and decoding, URL decode, URL encode. Looks like it's all done by formatter. Looks like it's done by formatter and text. So let's take a look. Extract URL, split, blah, 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 URL encode, URL decode. And let's just put in this. Boom. Let's just continue this and see what he's going to pipe out here. See what he's actually piping out here. Okay. So that guy looks totally good. Let's take a look at him. He does look totally good there. So let's come back over here and continue. And let's just come over here and edit this guy up. Take that link out of there. And just put that link in right there. Let's retest that guy. And let's come in right here. Put that guy in right there. And he did the same thing. And actually, you know, this honestly looks like an issue on my end that I can resolve really quickly. All right. So this looks like a little issue on my side that I can resolve really quickly. So by the time you go in and actually take action on this, you won't have to worry about that, and everything will just actually work perfect, because that looks like it's actually just a little issue on my side. You can see how now everything's actually working, and there's just a little bit of issue on my side that I'm having there that I'll go in and fix, so no big deal there. But that's essentially how you would create this, and using a group link, and then you would be able to come over here and look inside your dashboard, and you would be able to actually look at that group link, and you'll see how many clicks total have came to any of those group links, and then you'll be able to actually go in and look at all those data about those group link clicks. So you'll be able to see all the individual links that have actually been created and where those clicks are coming from, and even be able to see all the data. So you'll be able to see who are the people that are actually giving your link clicks. So you'll be able to see that here are the people that are actually clicking your links, and here are the actual aggregated data. And you can look here and see these links here. If you go to the group details, you can look and see all the aggregated information, all right? But then you can also go to these details and you can see individual information. If you want to see individual information, how many times each individual person has clicked on those links. All right, so that's essentially how you would use a group link from Link Wizard and do the same automation with something like these contacts here. And that's exactly how this would work. Whenever I go in and actually update this send flag here, once I update the send flag here, what it's going to do is it's going to fire out this automation, which is going to take that piece of data from my spreadsheet. It's going to create a URL for me, and it's going to create a new nice little Link Wizard group link. And then I can create a step where I actually put that group link into one of my emails. And then I'm all good to go. And then I can track everything, obviously, right inside Link Wizard. I can see, you know, how many clicks I've had on that link, and also know that everybody that's clicked on that link is now pixeled to my Facebook pixel, and I can retarget my LinkedIn contacts on Facebook and advertise to them on Facebook. And again, like I said, they are likely to connect with me because I am actually sending them a completely personalized website and a personalized message in their email with a link to this personalized website. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, now's your time to ask any questions that you could have. So are there any questions, or does everybody understand? So no questions? Everybody good? Cool.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good, John. Thanks for the review. Again, I'm a little mobile right now, so I'm going to check the actual video of this later, but I'll listen to the audio all the way through. But it's extremely powerful. It's really more coming down now for individually for everyone to come up with their own case study for their specific clients so they can really show the value. Because as far as technology goes, it's powerful to the point where it can be overwhelming for the average client. And the end result is the client doesn't really want perhaps all the nuggets that are in there. They just want the solution. And I think that's where all of us come in and helping provide solutions to clients using this great software. So thanks, John.
Yep. So if there's no other questions, I'm going to go because I have lots of other stuff to do. All right. We are going to make this even more and more. We are going to make this even more and more powerful for you by allowing you to go in and actually assign different logical blocks where you'll actually be able to completely remove blocks of your web page, or change their colors, or dynamically fill images, or dynamically fill videos based on different pieces of content. So for example, you could have a mail, a block of code for mails, like a little element block where you can say, hey, I'm going to call this thing a certain ID. I'm going to call this thing a certain ID. And you can just give in your HTML that these guys are both hidden. And then inside Magic Zap, you'll be able to say, hey, you know, I'm going to pass a gender value. And if that's equal to male, this particular thing, I want you to unhide it. If it's equal to female, this particular thing, I want you to unhide it. And then you'll be able to create even more and more, like even change the colors, the entire color of your web page, where for boys, the entire background can be blue, and for girls, the entire background can be pink. So we're going to give you more and more, different options and different things that you can do as they come out of my head or as they come out of your guys' head. If you guys want to take stuff out of your head and put them in your head, you can always go right into Magic Zap you can go to customer support and you can just click on this suggestion right here, and that will go right into a tier 5 engineer's desk where we will actually evaluate your feature and the feasibility of your feature. And if it is a cool feature and actually feasible and we can logically map it out, we will go ahead and build it right in for you. All right, so any other questions, you guys know how to reach me, but since you guys have no questions, I'm gonna leave for the day. So you guys enjoy your day, and thank you so much for coming today.